Today's episode brought to you by the Bro app. For men, do you ever find yourself broless and wishing you had a bro around to bro out with? Good news for you. With the help of the Bro app for men, your future bros are just a tap away. It's as simple as downloading the Bro app in the Play Store or iTunes and then browsing the thousands of bros in your area that are down to bro out with you. See a bro you like? Swipe that bro and you bros could be hanging in an hour. Visit www.broapp.com/HMT to receive a complimentary vat of water-soluble lube that your bro can use to lube up your butthole today. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, an opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Your schlubby hosts each week are Bryce Hanson, the cool collected nihilist, and David Day, a gummy bear without a package of other gummy bears. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I'm David Day.
I'm Bryce Hanson.
And boy, oh boy, do we got a great week planned out for you guys. Let me tell you what, I'm very excited for this episode and then the episode that's coming in just 2 short days.
Are you listening to us on a new episode on Monday?
That's crazy.
Is it blowing your fucking mind?
It's blowing my mind because I am tired. So we got a great show for you today. We are reviewing Child's Play, the 1988 original, and
the original.
But first, I would like to plug the website. That's www.horrormovietalk.com.
It's .com.
And we got all, so you know it's legit. It's not like .net or .us or any of those dumber ones like .dental.
Yeah.
Yeah. So visit us at horrormovietalk.com. We got all the write-ups for all of our episodes. We also have some pretty cool blogs, and you can use that as a portal to our Patreon and all of our social media and all that kind of stuff. So check it out. Speaking of social media, check us out on there. If you want to get a hold of us, it's as simple as messaging us on Facebook or Twitter. We've had multiple people, many from outside of the United States, contacting us through there, and we just love to hear from you. We post new episodes every Wednesday. Today is a little bit of a change up, a little bit of a switch hitter coming on, so that we can get both Child's Plays in there, so that you know how they compare and contrast. Because I'm sure some of you have childhoods that were rough because of the original Child's Play. So, subscribe and leave a review of the podcast on iTunes. You know, really all you need to do is just give it 5 stars. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, just rate it. Actually, I think we've been saying leave a review. You don't have to write anything. You can be lazy. Just tap on the star rating. I'm not going to tell you to give us a 5-star rating because that would be kind of a douchey thing to do. But, I mean, we all know, how good we are, right?
Right, we definitely do. So, as I said before, we're reviewing the original Child's Play from 1988. We'll start out by giving a brief review, kind of synopsis and score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge, where it makes you angry that you had to sit through it, 5 being totally average, kind of just what you expected, and 10 being so good that it transcends the horror genre and becomes a legit movie that should get kudos at the Academy Awards, but it won't because it's horror. After we give our score, we'll get into...
I like that explanation of 10 better than what we've been saying. That's true.
You like that?
It should get an Oscar, but it won't.
Yeah, this is a movie that definitely should get an Oscar, but it won't. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And later, we will be doing perennial favorite taglines, which is a bit where you just you get jokes, you get potential taglines. It's kind of freeform, us just goofing, just new boot goofing. So with that, let's get into the intro for Child's Play 1988. We saw this movie for free, and you can too, on Amazon as long as you have Prime. So it's not really free. It's really like $130 movie. for free.
For a year.
Right.
Well, and you can only watch it for probably a couple more weeks.
Right. So catch it quickly on Amazon Prime.
Is Amazon Prime $130?
Yeah,
now?
they upped it. Yeah, something like that.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $80 when
it's fucking worth it. I order some gate, some Energizer mix that you pour into water, or like, I don't know what it's called. What do you call it? Electrolytes? You buy electrolytes on there. They come to your door in like 4 hours. It's crazy.
Okay.
Anyway, so I think this movie holds up pretty darn well. I think people tend to forget what the original Child's Play is, which is harsh and disturbing. It's easy to see why it has become a cult classic that has spawned so many sequels that are all kind of beloved. Because it's a niche horror movie that really doubles down on terror. So without any further ado, here is the trailer.
Everyone has a birthday they'll always remember.
Can we open my presents now, Mommy? A good guy! I knew it! I'm Chucky.
He's something, isn't he?
This is Andy's.
Time for bed, Andy. Good night, baby.
Good night, Aunt Maggie. Good night, Chucky.
Everyone knows most accidents happen at home.
How did that happen?
This is no accident.
Andy!
I'm Detective Mike Norris, homicide.
Andy!
Miss Peterson's dead, Miss Barkley. She fell from the kitchen window.
Someone's moved in with the Barkley family. And so has terror.
Okay, I know who was on the counter. Andy!
Who, Andy?
Chucky.
Nobody believes you about Chucky. He came alive in my hand.
Oh, for God's sake.
Why won't you believe?
Because I'm sane, Mrs. Barkley. Sane and rational.
No one believes the truth. Or lives to tell it. There's nothing nice about murder. And there's nothing innocent about child's play.
I feel like we need the more you know clip. There's nothing nice about murder.
And there's nothing innocent about Child's Play. The more you know. So Child's Play is a movie about a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray, a.k.a., you guessed it, Chucky, who in his dying breath manages to transfer his consciousness into a good guy brand doll, which ends up in the home of Andy Barclay, a sweet young boy who just wants a friend. As the story progresses, Chucky cuts a swath of terror through Chicago neighborhood where the Barclays live, and Andy finds himself with more doll than he bargained for. The original Child's Play is not for the faint of heart because it goes heavy in the paint when it comes to disturbing and suggestive themes. Mostly, I was shocked upon rewatching of this movie because of how sweet and innocent young Andy was and how much he loved this doll who has a psychopathic killer living inside him.
Can I say the one thing that really sells it is how he pronounces Chucky.
Chucky?
It was Chucky.
Chucky.
It's like, yeah.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
It breaks my, like, it really does break my heart
Right.
watching this kid hug this doll. I'm like, oh God, so gross. Where was I? Yeah, while young Andy, played by Alex Vincent, is not the best actor, he is charming and believable to the point that I felt tons of empathy for him. The empathy that I felt for Andy and his mother really went a long way in making this a disturbing movie because it felt like they were in true danger and didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like no one believes Andy.
Right.
And it's just an innocent kid. He has no capability of handling the situation, and he's the only one that knows the danger.
Right.
Or
it's
knows
not
that
as
there
if
is danger.
It's not as if I missed the point. I just like to put an exclamation mark on it because, well, let's just say the remake or reimagining. While the original Child's Play is not the most gruesome or splatter-driven slasher from the late 80s, it is a superb exercise in audience manipulation. While the premise is a bit goofy, the execution is taken deadly serious by writer-director Tom Holland, and it ends up paying off. The one thing that Child's Play lacks is levity of almost any kind. There are very few moments of minor lightheartedness, but mostly this is a deadly serious movie that could have a lot more fun than it does.
And I think in the later entries, it probably does have a lot more fun.
Yes.
But yeah, it's kind of one of those dilemmas of if you want to be like a wide release movie that's taken seriously with such a ridiculous premise, it really helps it if you take it seriously.
That's true.
Because like once, and this was like
But Gremlins, though.
Yeah.
This is post Gremlins. I mean, the stage was set.
That's true.
Very literally.
But this was pre-Gremlins 2, which is really when
really goes
when we went towards just real just irony.
Bonkers, just total zany bonkers. Yeah. Irony for the sake of irony kind of stuff. So
this one has lots of dramatic irony.
Yes.
Just no like irony.
Right. Yeah. So my score for this movie is a 7 out of 10. It is definitely a classic. You can't deny it. I'm not a huge fan of slashers, but I see why this movie has the cult following it does. It's just not. It's as far as entries into that cult following, it's a little too serious for my taste. But boy, does it work at it does what it wants to do very, very well.
Yeah, I think, I haven't really given a lot of thought to the score, but I think I'll agree with you. It's a 7, and that it's definitely, it's not a fantastic movie in terms of like script and character development. It's very, very simple, and it works for it.
Yeah,
it sets up the premise. It goes through the motions of how can we advance the danger and the story of these characters. As a limited cast, that's one thing. Comparing it to the new one, the new movie had way too many disposable characters in it.
Jesus,
and this one had a pretty small cast where the stakes were set.
3 or 4 people.
But anyways, it works really well. This is one of those where it's a classic horror movie that you have to see.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily a good movie when you see it. Like the impact of it is much heavier than the quality of the particular first entry deserves.
Yeah.
I think maybe
I'd say it's good, not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you hear like how classic some of these, tentpole horror movies are, you go back and watch the original, and you're like, it's good. Yeah. Like I get it. Mm-hmm. It's a quality movie, but it's not like fantastic.
Right.
But then they spin out a bunch of usually worse movies,
schlock.
And then you think back fondly on the original.
Right.
So.
And you can mistake those goofy moments from Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3 for being in number 1, being like the brief, like they're kind of interchangeable a little bit.
Right.
To the point where you're you can't, really remember the difference between all of the Friday the 13th movies.
Right.
I mean, I remember that 1 and 2 are really good.
But there's definitely, whenever you go back to, the original Friday the 13th or Halloween or Child's Play, there is a spark where you're like, that is a very unique voice.
Yeah.
It's like a unique, there's something.
That's the thing that Child's Play does best. Yeah. That's the original Child's Play has that spark, has that feel of, and I'm going to get into it right as soon as we get into spoilers, but the feel of this movie is, it's perfectly late 80s. It's perfectly late 80s, and it's disconcerting, and it's irreverent and inappropriate and gross. It kind of makes you feel a little gross. So, yeah. So it's a solid 7 out of 10 from both of us. So that's the official score that it should have.
I mean, definitely, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Yeah.
And you should watch it before the new one just to see how different they are. And we'll get more into that on our next episode. But, yeah, check it out. If you got Amazon Prime, it's free. Watch it. It's not that long. It's like an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a pretty easy sale for. I mean, who's going to say no to Child's Play?
Right.
I mean, other than people who are terrified by horror movies.
Also, when we get into the mid-roll, which we're going to do right now, let's just open our self-promotional segment with our Amazon button in the banner of our website. If you go to horrormovietalk.com, there's a button that says "Spend on Amazon."
Yeah.
Because when you spend on Amazon, we get a little taste of that. May I make a suggestion? Right now, hopefully, as of the published date of this recording, Child's Play 1 through 7 is on sale on Amazon on Blu-ray for $20.
Damn! Oh, the whole
series
shebang.
Yeah.
On Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray.
God damn, that's a screaming deal. I don't even watch physical media, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah. So we'll also provide a link on the post for this episode.
Hell yeah!
And you can link through and buy that. I think even full price, it's only like $40. That's a pretty great deal for 7 movies.
Yeah, but this isn't full price. This is half price.
Yeah,
$20 for all 7.
Yeah. So do that.
Yeah, so mid-roll, we got you guys, if you haven't become a Patreon member already, and I know at least some of you haven't because we have 5. You should now, because pretty quick the Horror Movie Talk founding member that deal is going out the door starting in July-ish. And also, if you act now, we only have one tier, $5, and that gets you all. So whenever we open up a new tier, higher tiers, anything like that, you're grandfathered in, baby. You got that sweet, sweet Horror Movie Talk. Whatever we end up, turning our Patreon into, you get all the perks. So
as long as you stay a patron.
So do that now and lock it in. Also, I send you a little thank you card that says, "Hey, thank you for becoming a Patreon member," and I give you stickers, vinyl stickers, and they're sweet. We don't cheap out on our flipping stickers, guy or gal. You just don't point that finger at me. As Bryce said, you can also support the podcast by clicking through our link on Amazon. And also, if you would like access to tons and tons of free horror movies, you can enter HMT when you go to Shudder.com, and it gets you 30 days of free streaming of tons of horror. And they got bunches and bunches of it. A couple Halloweens are in there. Texas Chainsaw, the original, is in there. They got curated list, Joe Bob Briggs, baby, Critters, the series, a new binge, a bunch of stuff. Fun stuff, and you can watch it for free for 30 days if you just enter HMT at checkout. Thanks again for listening, and let's hit the spoilers.
Spoilers! Yeah!
Woo!
Jesus.
So we got in this. The first thing I'd like to mention about Child's Play or reiterate is Tom Holland film. And for those of you who are not familiar with Tom Holland, he did Fright Night. He did Tales from the Crypt 3 episodes from Tales from the Crypt. I'm sorry. He also did the straight to TV goofiest Stephen King series you've ever seen, mini series you've ever seen, The Langoliers, which is about a bunch of time-traveling walnuts that eat the past.
Uh-huh.
And also he did Thinner, another Stephen King movie. So, and I think, did he do RoboCop?
No.
Did Tom Holland do? No. This movie does feel a lot, this made me have the feels of RoboCop, though. It felt inappropriate, and it made me feel kind of gross and gritty, and I love RoboCop and the way it makes me feel when I watch it, which is gross and gritty and inappropriate.
Yeah, I could see how it has that part. What it doesn't have from RoboCop is the intense satire.
Yeah, it does lack a little bit of that. Yeah. But nevertheless, the atmosphere is fairly similar. So this movie starts out pretty intensely with a police chase. And a dude with long greasy hair is running from the police. And they mention on the police radio,
"Hey, there goes Chicago Strangler."
"Hey, there goes the Chicago Strangler. He's running in that toy store."
Or the Windy City Strangler. That's what it is.
Oh, that's a good name for a...
Yeah. And his name is...
Charles Lee Ray.
Charles Lee Ray, which is a combination of Charles Manson, Lee Harvey Oswald... and Ray, what was the...
Ray Romano.
Ray Romano.
Yeah, back when he was just getting his, he was just getting his start as a stand-up.
Uh-huh. He was horrible.
Yeah.
Or wait, it's because he killed.
Yeah, it's because he slayed the audience. Wow, I did not know that. How'd you find that out, Guy?
Oh, IMDb.
Oh, wow.
I can look up things on IMDb. Let me find the Ray one. Keep going.
So, Charles Lee...
Sorry, Ray would be taken from James Earl Ray, who was the assassin of Martin Luther King.
Oh, I thought he was a blues artist or something.
No.
Sounds like... It's a really bluesy name, Charles Lee Ray. It sounds like a guy who's going to be on the, on the steel guitar.
Right.
Anyway, so he runs into a toy store...
if you're a parent and want to just make sure that your child doesn't become a serial killer, just don't give him a middle name.
Oh, wow.
Has there ever been a serial killer that's just, I guess, Charles Manson?
Well, he wasn't a serial killer,
but he wasn't a serial killer. He was just a
cult leader.
Kind
of.
Yeah. So if you want your kid to have a sex cult...
Yeah, Wesley.
Just two names.
Wesley Allen Dodd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is the Green River Killer? I can't remember his name. Huh. How about that?
Yeah.
We almost didn't give our second child a middle name. We almost made it one kind of contiguous double name as the first name and then just a last name, but we ended up splitting it up.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, now she has the potential to be a serial killer. It's not a sure thing.
Yeah.
I guess there's always time to become a serial killer.
Yep.
And it's pretty rare to be a girl.
Yeah. I mean, we got plenty of time just between the two of us to become serial killers.
Have you seen my shirt?
Yep.
Okay. So
David's wearing the most intensely metal t-shirt that he's very self-conscious about wearing in public. Says, "I can wear this one time a year or else I look like that guy."
I get it. I have this crazy intense collection of just insanely inappropriate t-shirts, and I love them, but they're so dorky. And but man, if you want to get your hands on some super metal shirts, a free plug. Here it comes. You ready, Holy Mountain Printing? Head on over to holymountainprinting.com. They got tons of inappropriate shirts and band t-shirts and all kinds of stuff. Great stuff. I got myself an Alien shirt, but it's all done up. It's by a guy called Uber Cult, and he does this series of super, super cool metal shirts. Anyway, so Charles Lee Ray runs into a toy store and has a bit of a shootout with the police detective and gets shot a few times. And as he's stumbling around, grasping at his ending life and cursing the detective who shot him, he makes a dying resolution to get the cop no matter what. You hear me? No matter what! And then he grabs a hold of one of these. He knocks over a big stand of good guy dolls, which was really there was a lot of effort thrown into him pushing this big stack of dolls over. And then he claws a doll out, and then he gets an idea all of a sudden, and he starts to utter magic words on the good guy doll that evokes a roiling thunderstorm. All these massive cumulonimbus angry clouds come rolling in above this Chicago toy store. And as he finishes his incantation, the lightning comes out of the sky and comes down into the building and explodes the fucking toy store.
Everyone knows in movies, lightning can do anything.
Anything you want it to do.
Anything magic.
We're talking like...
Do you want to switch bodies with your adolescent son and you're a middle-aged father? Something's got to get hit by lightning and you got to get shot. And all of a sudden, you guys switch places.
Do you want a toy store? I almost said Toy Story. A little Freudian slip in there for you, which we'll get into.
Do you want to transfer your soul to a small doll?
Lightning.
Just need lightning.
Do you want to blow up a toy store with what looks like hundreds of pounds of dynamite? Lightning.
Lightning.
It doesn't... lightning hits buildings all the time, and all of them explode like as though a bomb is inside them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We should make up a list of the...
insane lightning
effects of lightning in film.
Oh, baby, man.
Yeah.
Is there a bunch
There's got to be someone with superpowers that just got it from lightning.
What's that? Big Trouble Little China. I think there's a bunch of lightning coming out of fingertips in that one.
Yeah.
And then there's force lightning.
Yeah.
Boy, man, there's all kinds of lightning.
Anywho. So he transfers his soul to Chucky.
Well, we don't really know that, but yeah, it's been, 30 years? Yeah, we know that.
Well, because he's got shifty eyes.
Oh, yeah. That doll, man. Woo! Man, they chose a really... Yeah, and they chose a doll that was a real doll, essentially. Almost.
Yeah, I read in the trivia they used a couple different models. So they got, like, the My Buddy doll as a frame of reference, and then they got, like, Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy dolls, and, like, just a normal... lifelike baby doll, and they kind of modeled the look after that, which really works.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of... We'll get into this more in the next episode, but that's like a fundamental thing that works in this movie that they just completely don't get in the remake. That the point is, it's a doll.
Right.
And it looks like a toy.
And it is a toy. But... it will kill you. But also, it's a serial killer.
There's something about something looking very safe, but can kill you, that's very disturbing. That's like why when you talk about serial killers, it's like, oh, he just looked like such a normal next-door neighbor.
Yeah. It's like a bottle of wine. That looks so safe.
Yeah.
But long-term, you could get cirrhosis of the liver and die.
So, in the new movie, they're just like, well, we got to make it look creepy, right? Because people aren't going to be scared unless it looks super fucking creepy.
Right.
And has a super fucking creepy voice.
It's like, no. The reason is it doesn't look... Don't you get it? Stupid. She's so stupid. So then it's left kind of hanging, and we we zoom in on Andy's life, who is a little kid, little kind of latchkey looking kid in this first scene with him, and he's making the most insane breakfast that you've ever seen, which is he gets a little TV tray out, and he gets puts all the necessities on it, a bowl.
What's the Chucky doll called? I can't remember. I keep wanting to say My Buddy.
Good Guy.
Good Guy.
Yeah.
So he's like, Andy is all in on Good Guy.
Yeah.
Like swag. He's wearing the clothes that look
PJs.
Exactly like the Good Guy cartoon character.
Like a 5-year-old would.
Yeah. And the cereal he pours out in abundance that's super sugary and crazy is Good Guy cereal.
Good Guy brand cereal. You remember the 80s?
Yeah.
Where everything was branded as something insane. It's like, these are Ninja Turtles-os.
I don't know if I'm just older and I don't walk down the cereal aisle as much,
might be
but it feels like there was a lot more branded and like character cereals.
There was. Not just cereals, but everything. Like comics in the it's the reason why comics had the big boom in the 90s, right? Because in the 80s, like so many transfers happened. Like they were like, okay, well, we can turn Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the comic books, into a show. We can turn Transformers, the comic books, into a show. Or they would come in unit or in tandem together. Like the way you would push a show would be with a comic book, or the way you would push a comic book would be with a show. So they came out with just pulp, just tons and tons and tons. As if comics weren't pulpy enough, they went full R-word with it. And anyway. So yeah, Andy's all in on Good Guy. He pours all this cereal, pours all this milk, gets the sugar out, gets like 9 spoons of sugar, just blasts the tray with a healthy dose of sugar, throws some super burnt toast on there, and you're like, damn, this kid's gonna eat like a king. And then he walks it in to his mom's bedroom where she's sleeping, and he gives it to his mom, and there's milk everywhere, and she loves him so much she doesn't even notice. She's like, oh, breakfast in bed. It's like the OCD dude inside me was screaming. That was almost the scariest part of this movie. I was like, there's milk all throughout the house. What are you doing? No. Bad.
Yeah.
But she just loves him, and she kisses him, and she's like, happy birthday, Andy. It's his birthday, and he's bringing his mom breakfast.
Yeah.
So sweet.
It's so simple, but it's a great moment.
Yeah.
It just kind of, I don't know.
He's a good boy.
It's been done many times before, but just that scene in particular just sets the relationship between mom and son.
Yeah.
Just like,
we're in it together. We love each other, and that's what it is. She says happy birthday to Andy. So now the stage is set, right? So, and there's a big box, and he wants to open that one first, and it's a fake out. It's a phony. It's a big phony because it looks just like the size of a Good Guy doll, but it's like a tool set. Or was it clothes?
No, it was clothes.
Yeah, it was clothes.
The worst gift that you can give as a child.
The worst gift, and the only gift that I want now. It's so weird when that shifted. I don't know how that happened.
I would literally, I'm getting to the point where I'm excited about getting socks.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice socks? Are you kidding me? That's the best.
Yeah. So, he's faked out. He's severely disappointed. I don't know why you would pack clothes into a giant box, but... we're in a movie.
Well, she works for a big box store, for a big box department store. So they only have big boxes in those stores.
Right. And then she's at work, and her coworker comes in. Hey, there's a peddler outside.
Hey, there's
with a Good Guy doll. Didn't Andy want one of them Good Guy dolls?
And the peddler, if the peddler has the wares, if you have the coin, right? And so she's down there.
They really go all in on the labeling him a peddler,
right?
Which is that a thing in big cities in the 80s? Of there's peddlers, or why wouldn't you just say there's a guy in the alleyway, or there's a hobo?
I mean, I'd be more likely to call him a hawker, right? I guess. But maybe it's just a dialect thing. Maybe it's that Chicago dialect.
It just feels. Maybe I just don't
goofy.
understand it, but it feels very movie-like to be like, there's a peddler.
Yeah.
Because it feels like there's a gypsy woman outside.
The gypsy. You can't say that. That's like saying the R word.
That's like a thing that only exists in movies that people would say.
Right, and we should set this up a little bit so Andy doesn't get his good guy doll during his birthday, and his mom's like, I know, sweetie, but they're just so expensive, and I've been pulling double shifts just to get you those stupid clothes you hate so much. And so when she hears about the peddler, she's like, aw, shit, maybe I could get me a good guy doll for free, or not free, but for peddler prices. And so the peddler's like, yeah, he's fine. He's just a little scuffed up, but it's $30. And she's like, damn, dude, are you kidding me? Pfft, that's a 70% discount. That doll was $100. I'd be like, $30? Yeah, I'll take 70% off. And she's like, can you do 20? And he's like, bitch. Anyway, so, but the 70% discount comes with a heavy price of having a serial killer's consciousness live within the doll. So maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it was maybe a $20 or like $21 doll. Who's to say?
Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah. Then, it should also be noted that, she has an ultra dickhead boss. I don't know why that should necessarily be noted, but all I could think of during her boss coming up to her and being like, hey, you got to work late on Saturday. And she's like, no, that's the time that I don't want to work. And he's like, he's so mean to her. And it's a profoundly 80s, 90s trope of like, the boss is such a dick.
Has there ever been a boss in real life that says, do you like your job?
Do you like your job? Oh, I'm sure there has been.
Yeah, I guess there has been, but man, could you imagine working?
Could you imagine being that person who says that to someone?
Do you like your job here?
Relatives will kind of do that to you, Sometimes you'll get a relative come in from out of state or something, and you haven't seen them forever, and they're like, do you like your job? You're like, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what happens sometimes. So now the terror starts ramping up because the audience knows, kind of. The
audience knows something's up.
The audience knows.
Because the camera dwells a little too long on the eyes.
The camera work is really good in this part.
Right.
It just keeps building that terror because it's like the camera's lingering on that doll, and the doll just has that little deadpan doll stare. But you're like, is its eyes going to move? And it doesn't. Yeah, but sometimes it does.
This is one thing that I can say about this movie as like an overall observation. The camera work is really great.
It is.
It really doesn't show the doll at all until the end. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it works so much better if you don't show it.
Right.
Especially early on because you're establishing the concept of a little doll that's trying to kill people.
Yeah.
And if you were to show that first off, that would be...
fucking it out.
It'd be a Puppet Master movie.
Right.
So, a lot of first-person camera work, a lot of, like, catching just glimpses and flashes of someone passing in the background or in the foreground.
Yeah, little
past the camera.
Little motion whooshes.
And then lots and lots of pitter-pattering.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like, here, wait. We could do the effect.
Whoa.
Wow. We'll have to use this for future sound effects.
If you got headphones on right now, I guarantee you also got chills. Okay, Brian. All right. That's enough.
All right.
Stop toying with our listeners' emotions.
Okay. All right.
So then Maggie... oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'm done.
He's in the room.
I'm done.
He's in the room. So then Andy's mom has to work that late shift for her dickhead boss. and her coworker, who has been lovingly named Aunt Maggie, is offered to watch Andy, and she's goofy in a way that a kind of a throwaway character in a movie would be memorable because she's so goofy. And she's like, Andy, hurry up and go to bed. She's really pushing the bed thing. She's like, go to your death. Quick, go lie with that thing.
This character, I was thinking about it in contrast with the new Child's Play. And this character was missing from the new one. And it's one of those devices in the story that really pushes forward the storyline. Because, number one, it gives the mom an opportunity to voice her concern or her talk about the relationship with her kid.
Right.
It kind of helps with exposition and about like what she's thinking. It establishes like a life outside of watching her kid.
Right. I'm a mature adult.
And it's this friend that's important to her and is a support. And it ups the stakes for a death that will come.
Right.
Because you care about this friend because this friend is
she's
important.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's nice. You empathize with her. She's there to watch your kid when you got to pull a late shift because your boss is such a jerk.
Yeah. As opposed to most of the deaths in the new one were people that you're like,
whatever.
I guess I'm supposed to care about.
Okay,
this
go
person.
ahead and die. You're definitely going to die.
This is a person that exists in this world.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so Maggie, the friend... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think, in contrast, I think I probably cared more or felt more like sadness from seeing Maggie die in this original.
Well, save it for the next one, buddy.
Than I felt any worry for the main characters of the new one.
Just came up with a new word for you. You're my bruddy. You're my buddy and bro.
Brody.
We should find each other on the Bro app. Oh, by the way, the Bro app, that's a real thing. www.broapp.com. You can go there and bro out hard with your bros.
Really?
Yeah. It's, you can check out that bro or, do those things. So I'm just giving all kinds of free plugs out today. So if you do find bros in your...
The Bro app for me. You aren't even lying.
I'm not fucking lying. I was like, you know how I was like, I got to think of a joke commercial for the start of the episode. And I was like, well, what if there was an app that just lets you find bros? And then I was like, I wonder if that app actually exists because it might. Bro, I didn't even Google search it. I just went to www.broapp.com. This came up and I was like, that's...
Wow, it really is a dating.
It's a dating app.
Check out New Bros Daily. Bro will show you guys that you might be a good match to bro out with based on your interests. And bro type, gay, bi, or open-minded?
Question mark?
It's all here.
Check out that screenshot. Go back up. Check out that screenshot of the iPhone there. Look at the two options, the red buttons. What do they say?
Hit them up or check them out.
Those are your options in the Bro app. You can check them up or you can check them out or hit them up.
Is this real?
Oh, this is real, man. This is like classy Grindr, which we're very familiar with.
Wow.
Because we record every episode in the nude. Not that we're gay.
What a world.
We just are up on the times. And we're accepting of all cultures.
Okay, anyways.
So Aunt Maggie provides the tool for so as she's forcing Andy to go to bed, and he's so sweet and cute, and as she's putting him to bed, he tells Chucky, I love you, Chucky, and he kisses him, and it's like, oh, gross. Like, there's a serial killer inside. Don't kiss that thing, but you're also like, you poor kid. Like, this is the thing you've wanted for so long, and you've gone full in on.
Yeah.
You got the pajamas, you got the cereal, you watch every episode of the show, and now you got the thing that you want, and it's a fucking serial killer. That's so gross. Anyway, so Aunt Maggie's putting him to bed, and right as on the TV there's a newscast of the Windy City Strangler Charles Lee Ray has been he's been killed in a gun chase, in a police chase, in a shootout. And obviously Chucky is like,
it's talking about his accomplice that abandoned him in the original chase in the opening scene. I can't remember what, Eddie Kasdan or something like that.
Wow, good memory.
Yeah, I have a really good memory since I watched it this morning. His accomplice, which he vowed revenge on for abandoning him and causing his death.
He's really revenge driven.
It was on the news that he escaped from capture or whatever.
That's right.
So Andy is telling Aunt Maggie, Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news. And she's like,
oh yeah, Chucky wants to stay up late. Sure, kid.
Yeah. So she puts him to bed. And then Chucky comes out. And, you don't see it, but all of a sudden the TV is on and Chucky's sitting in front of it trying to watch the news. And the aunt accuses Andy of...
It's creepy, too. That.
Yeah, it's very effective.
It works really well because you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, God, there's just a doll sitting there watching TV, unassumingly like, what? Like, yeah. I'm just here.
It's like Annabelle, but Annabelle is actually dangerous.
Yeah. But it's also a very kid thing to do.
Right.
Right?
To bring out their doll and sit him. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is that it's very believable that this kid would be super into this doll and into this imaginary world and putting a personality on the doll of what the doll wants to do. Like that is a thing.
Yeah, and every once in a while your kid does and says things that is just, whoa, hey, wait a minute.
That's the important part of this movie is that the things that it's using as like the structure of it, they are things.
Right.
And I don't think we've even talked about My Buddy yet. So this is an essential understanding for Child's Play. And maybe you millennials don't understand where Chucky originated from. You fucking millennials.
You and me are millennials.
Well, I'm not a millennial.
Yeah, you are. It's 1981 is the cutoff.
No, it's 1983.
No, it's not.
That's the cutoff. Yeah, it is.
No.
I'm an exennial.
Mm-hmm. Bryce is like, this is a long-term argument between us.
I'm a micro-generation that's not millennial.
Right. Oh, anything to get out of being whatever you are.
Yeah. Fucking millennials.
You're so...
Ruining the world.
You're so old.
What they are.
Jesus Christ. It's like you're... How many heart attacks have you had today? You're so old.
Anyways, so it's essential to understand that there was a toy called My Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And these commercials were on the TV all the time when we were growing up. I actually have the clip of the actual advertisement.
You're pretty good at this.
Let's listen up.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. I'll teach him everything that I know. My buddy and me like to climb up a tree. My buddy and me, we're the best friends that could be. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy and me.
My Buddy from Play School.
Wow,
so that advertisement, does that bring you back?
That brings me right back, man. That's
crazy. That ad was on TV probably every commercial break.
Ugh.
And it was known, and everyone was, well, okay, so that and Teddy Ruxpin. Teddy Ruxpin was the other one where it was this bear with a cassette tape player that could tell you stories and talk to you, basically, with like a moving mouth. Where it was like, it's basically having like a miniature Chuck E. Cheese in your home.
Yeah.
And so those two toys were heavily pushed in the late 80s and, well, mid 80s probably.
Yeah. And 90s.
And that is the baseline of understanding that you have to have, that this Chucky doll was basically a thing.
Right.
Like they originally titled the movie like Bloody Buddy or something like that, but they couldn't because My Buddy existed and they would have gotten in trouble for using Buddy in the title, so they changed it to Child's Play.
But I'm sure that Child's Play and My Buddy played on each other's popularity for the better of both of them.
Actually, no. It was My Buddy was it immediately stopped selling because of this movie. This completely torpedoed any success that doll could have.
Brutal, man.
Because why? Honestly, even if you're a kid, you were aware of Child's Play,
and it's
there was a murderous doll that looked exactly like My Buddy.
Yeah, and the kid isn't buying the doll. It's the parents who saw the movie who are buying the doll. Yeah. They're shelling out, and they're like, I don't want that fucking thing in my house. Look at it.
So this is just basically an important concept to understand for our next review of the remake, that the whole premise of this movie made sense because they were actually a thing.
Watch out now.
2019.
Hey, whoa. Don't get into it. This is spoilers for the original Child's Play. So, long story short, Chucky ends up, Maggie keeps getting in the way of Chucky watching his news, his stories. And so Chucky gets fed up and comes at her with a claw hammer. And she flies out the third or fourth story window with surprising ease. Bonk on the head and then whoosh out the window down to the streets below, where she lands on a what do you call it? A canopy for a Ford truck. And man, she just mangles that canopy. I feel real bad for that truck owner. I always think about the person whose car is destroyed by the other person who unfortunately lands on it. I'm like, darn, man, what are you going to do in the morning?
I always look at those, especially her. She probably fell from 3 or 4 stories.
Something like that.
I feel if you fell and hit the roof of a truck and it really caved in really easily like that, wouldn't that just basically break your fall? My immediate assumption in that scenario would be oh, well, that must have really helped her out and not killed her.
In her case, yeah, maybe, because she's a light little thing. If it were me, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Might have just been another brick on the way down.
Well, if it were me, I'd punch a hole through the truck.
I mean, yeah, it's one of these things where it's I don't know. Does lightning make an explosion on a toy store?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not after it. But the claw hammer in the middle of the forehead probably didn't help either.
Right.
It contributed. It was a contributor to her demise.
Just basically other movie logic. As long as there isn't a trickle of blood coming out of someone's mouth, they could still be alive.
Yeah, they'll make it.
Yeah.
So then the detectives show up. This causes a big uproar in the whatever kind of apartment building this is, and the detectives are doing their detective work, and they're like, "How'd this lady fall out this window?" And they see these footprints in the flower that was knocked over, and they're like, "Huh, nobody in here's shoes match these footprints. These tiny little Chucky-sized footprints."
And they all have imprints of guns and little kid stuff on them. I can't remember what the pictures were.
It's like a lasso and a little gun and like a ball. It's all the little toys that are, the little kids like balls. I don't know. Maybe like those.
So that basically, I mean, the audience knows whose footprints it are, but Andy wears the same My Buddy shoes that Chucky wears, so it's
a onesie, actually. I think it's a pajama onesie.
Yeah, so I mean,
so they look at the kid and they're like, oh shit. And the mom gets home while the police are there. She's like, I'm back from my shit. Oh my God, what's going on in my apartment? And this reminds me of
wait, I want to make an observation about the footprint still. This would have been an excellent defense strategy by OJ's trial lawyers.
Go on.
I mean, those footprints, those size 15 footprints or whatever that they found in the mud around the murder scene, they should just show Child's Play and be like, it could have been a doll. You know,
you seen those?
There's no way of knowing. He could have had the exact same shoe.
You seen those big oversized dolls that you could win at fairs and stuff? Mm-hmm. Bingo, that's what it is.
Yeah,
it was a gigantic Cheeto cheetah, but like one of those off-brand ones.
Right. It could be just any other killer.
Yeah, like it.
I mean, any other killer. It didn't have to be OJ. It could have been another killer.
Right. Speaking of which, what about OJ's tweet recently with all the knives, all the slasher knives? He threatened somebody on Twitter with a tweet just filled with knife emojis.
What?
This dude's in his 70s.
Oh my God.
I mean, you think Trump's Twitter's off the hook? OJ Simpson is just sending people tweets of knife emojis.
Man, OJ is bonkers. Did you hear about, he had like a prank show?
Yeah.
After the trial, they thought that was a good idea, and part of it was like,
surprise, bitch, I'm going to stab you. No, I'm not. I'm just joking.
Oh, man. That will like forever be a very weird part of pop culture. OJ Simpson.
What a lunatic. OJ, if you're listening, dude, the glove didn't fit.
Yeah.
So Andy's mom comes home. She sees all these police at her apartment. She's like, what? And this made me think, if I was out working at night and a murder happened at my house, I would know within 2 minutes. It'd be like, yo, bro. My neighbor would be like, yo, bro, a murder happened at your house. And I'd be like, I'm on the way. And, but nope, she just walks in. This is a simpler time, And so then the detectives are like, our main suspect right now is your kid and this claw hammer. So that made me sad for poor little innocent Andy, because he's being fingered for killing Aunt Maggie. Hey, whoa! Don't
use the word fingered.
Well, that's what
blamed. Let's say blamed.
He's being.
I don't like using the word fingered around children.
Okay.
So he's taken away from his mom because he's a suspected killer. And it's probably not a great and obviously delusional, because he's blaming his inanimate doll,
Chucky.
Yeah, and so he's taken away, and his mom is trying to investigate, and then she finds out upon looking at the box that Chucky came in, the batteries fall out.
There are no it comes with batteries included, but they're not in Chucky.
Yeah. So she checks Chucky's back, and sure enough, there's no batteries in there, at which point we enter a very crucial stage of the movie where this is where they're really going to show the doll moving around, because Chucky turns his head around. It's like, I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, I can't really remember what he said either.
But yeah, it's revealed that yes, he definitely is at least magical and can move on his own without batteries.
Yeah, and she drops him onto the floor, and he does his custom what do you call it? Signature move, where he falls onto the floor and then flip rolls underneath something.
Yeah,
like this is his signature move. Like if Chucky was in a fighting video game where he had to fight Blanca, from Street Fighter, his move would just be being dropped to the floor and then rolling real quick.
Right.
Anyway, so he is revealed to be evil and, not evil, but definitely
okay, that's right. I remember now. So his head turns around a la Exorcist, and it plays one of the 3 recorded lines that the good guy doll has, which is, "My name's Chucky. Wanna play?
Wanna play?"
And it's important to note that they're these pre-recorded lines, and that's the only time we've heard Chucky actually talk up to this point. Every other time is Andy saying that Chucky talked to him.
Right.
So you're like, well, is he talking to him psychopathically?
Psychopathically.
Psychopathic.
Yes, definitely.
Telepathically.
Right.
Yeah. Say. Sorry. And, or is he like actually talking to him and whispering? Because we don't hear.
I think he's talking to him.
But at the time, well, yeah, it's revealed later, but thanks, David. And then the mom, she like picks up the doll after it rolls under the couch, and she threatens him with burning him.
Yeah.
Throwing him in the fire. And that's when it's revealed that it's actually Charles Lee
Ray.
Yeah,
and he starts screaming at her, and he's like, "You bitch, you bitch,
you stupid bitch!"
Yeah, as soon as Chucky comes to life, a string of profanity. Anytime Chucky comes to life in any of the Child's Play movies, he's a string of horrible profanity leaves his tiny, cute toy lips.
Yeah, and so it's revealed that he definitely is the serial killer, and from then on, you see him running around and you hear him and he's talking to people. And so, it's really, really effective. Like how they waited to show the reveal to where you as an audience understand what's going on, but you don't really, it's not really confirmed until much later.
Right. Way to go. I'm picking up where I dropped the ball on my notes here, because I really left that little bit out. So somehow, did the trap house scene happen before or after? It happened after, because Andy gets released on his own recognizance by the police to like go to school or whatever, or something.
No, he breaks out.
Oh, he breaks out. And how does he get the doll breaks him out. I can't even remember what happened.
What was it? I think he sees... Gosh, I just watched it and I can't remember. It was from some circumstances, Andy is chasing after Chucky, and he sees Chucky going into this trap house to...
No, he's reunited with Chucky, and Chucky's like whispering to him, and Chucky tells Andy, "Hey, let's get on this train. Let's get on the 4 train. We're going to head out to this fucking terrible neighborhood." And so Andy gets a ticket. He brings Chucky with him, gets him on the train, takes him to this neighborhood, and then walks him down through like the Skid Row of Chicago, past all these burning barrels and like all these bums and hobos and scary looking people, and they finally show up at this trap house that's just, it's super derelict, ultra derelict, super scary looking house, and you're like, Jesus, poor little kid's being let out into Skid Row basically by this little doll, and Andy has to go pee, and so he says, "You sit here, Chucky, I gotta go take a leak, feed the lizard, I have to pee out my pee wiener." And so he goes and does that, and when he returns, Chucky has run really fast into the house, and Andy doesn't know where he is. You get that first person all the way into the house, and then he's like, he's alone, which is probably better than him being with Chucky, but now he's alone out in Skid Row, scary place, and Chucky is in the house, and he's trying to get revenge on his partner who ditched him, and so what he does is he turns on the oven.
Okay, I just read the synopsis in IMDb. So the sequence of events is the Maggie dies, and Andy accuses Chucky. They don't believe him. They don't take him away.
Okay, that's what happens.
That's where I went wrong. The next day or whatever, he chases Chucky, and they go to...
He doesn't chase Chucky. He takes Chucky, but according to Chucky's desires. Chucky tells him, "Hey, man, let's get moving."
Yeah, he puts Chucky on like a chair in the middle of a field or whatever, and says, "I got to go take a whiz, Chuck." And when he turns around, Chucky's gone.
I just said that.
Okay.
So Chucky's in the house. He has turned the gas on he blew out the pilot light in the oven, and he turned the gas on, and then he's like, his buddy who ditched him is in this house, and the way you just looked at me, you looked at me just like your little boy. Like, it was like your little boy's face and your face were one for just a second. And I was like, whoa, man, Colin and you just look exactly the same. Anyhow, so he's playing this game of cat and mouse with his old buddy who's walking around this house, firing into this structurally unstable house with a gigantic revolver. And this little boy's just walking around outside like, Chucky, which if you're his compatriot, if you're Chucky's buddy who ditched him, and you hear some little kid walking around outside going, hey, Chucky, where are you? Wouldn't you be like, what the fuck is that? Is there some little good-looking kid outside with, well taken care of looking kid?
Right.
Out here
by this trap house,
calling for my partner who's dead.
Yeah.
So he's trying to protect his property, and in the process he shoots the oven, and this trap house explodes in a very impressive way. Like there's hundreds of pounds of dynamite in it.
Right. So then at that point they find Andy next to this exploded house, and they're like, okay, so this kid is a serial killer.
Time for you to come with us.
Yeah, so that's when they put him in the psychiatric ward. Right.
Yeah, and that's when this story really becomes truly dark, in my opinion, because it's like now he has to spend time with CPS.
Yeah.
And I would never wish that on any kid.
Yeah.
Like, what a horrible, and he's so sweet. Did I say he was sweet? Cute little kid.
He's a cute kid.
So yeah, then Chucky is left with the mom, and it's revealed that he has no batteries, and he does the thing that we were talking about earlier.
And so this, like, just to kind of, there's not many more story elements to finish up on, but basically they find out that he learned about how to transfer a soul from this voodoo guy.
Yeah.
Which Chucky also goes and kills. And then it's just like a series of deaths and attacks from Chucky. And the ending of this movie, though, there's a couple...
It's a great ending.
There's a couple things from this movie that like really stuck with me, because I haven't watched this movie for probably 20 years.
Sure.
And at least 20 years. But I do remember the beginning, and I do remember the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending was great because it is the origin of a major trope in Child's Play movies, which is mangling the Chucky doll.
Yeah.
That's like a huge part of Chucky, is the fact that he's completely mangled.
The dead won't die kind of thing.
And so they throw him in the fire, and he's completely charred, and you assume dead. Oh, yeah, it's established that to kill Chucky, you have to stab him in the heart because he's slowly becoming human.
Right. So, yeah, so that's one other key element of this before you summarize the end of the movie. Chucky visits the voodoo man, and the voodoo man explains to him, hey, you're going to be the doll. You are going to... you're not going to transfer out of that body unless you do it like now, guys. So you have to transfer out of that doll.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or else you're going to become the doll. Like that's their permanent residence, which doesn't really make any sense because originally your original permanent residence was your human body. So why can't you do it again? But I don't know.
And then he tells them that the only person you can transfer into is the first person that you revealed your true identity to, which is Andy.
Which brings it back to making a little bit more sense. There's rules to magic. Yeah. It's magic, and now you're locked into the weird rules of magic.
Right. So anyways, he's trying to transfer his soul into Andy and become a 6-year-old again, which is better than being a doll.
Yeah.
And
heck, being a 6-year-old is better than being an adult for sure.
Hell yeah. Man, if I was had an adult mind and a 6-year-old body,
that's the dream, man.
Be so great.
Get to go back and like do everything, like invest.
Yeah, you could like not Invest. Yeah. You do that, and just like you could get through school super easy, and then you could be like even if you just started taking up piano, you could be a prodigy.
Can you imagine the moment where they're like, write this word, and you look at it and it's cat, and you're like, fuck this shit. Like, yeah, I got this. Like, every worksheet that was ever given to you, you're like, 2 plus fuck you. It's just like, that would be so great. Like, all of elementary school until you get to high school, when the math starts getting a little
you get to like pre-algebra, and you're like, well, oh goddamn, I've forgotten all of this.
I never was good at this anyways. This is stupid. And then you become a teenager.
Yeah, and then you're like, I'm never going to use this, and they're like, you're going to use this. And so many, like, you can't do retail work without math.
I'm 56.
I always love it when they're like in children's shows where they give examples of how you're going to use advanced math. It's like you can't be in the military shooting bullets without knowing about physics.
The arc of that bullet's like bullshit. I can't. There's another bullet behind that first one, right? What's all that taxpayer money doing if not buying me more bullets?
Yeah. Anywho,
wow, that got dark.
So they eventually throw Chucky into a fire, and he's completely charred, like Char Buddy Chucky.
Yeah, this is the old infamous triple comeback trope where he's dead. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
And the design of the charred Chucky when he comes back to life is so
scary.
effective. Yeah. Because he only has like one good eye,
and he's dripping with plastic, and but there's like hate in those little animatronic like features.
Because it goes from like a friendly doll face that kind of can distort to like a horrific blackened, like grimaced face, and then they shoot off his head, they shoot off his arm, they shoot off his leg.
And then he's just a little arm kind of crawling towards him with a little arm.
But even just with one leg and one arm, he's still able to attack.
Yeah,
eventually.
I choke somebody. I'm going to get you. You know, so one thing we haven't mentioned yet, Toy Story 4 has been released on the same day that the reimagining of Child's Play has been released. And Toy Story, the original, was essentially had a lot of callbacks to or paying homage to Child's Play, if you think about it. You know, Andy is the kid. There's a lot of focus on Woody and his boot, and there's a big focus on shoes in this movie as well.
Right.
Also, toys come to life, right? So, and no one knows that the toys come to life.
Right. If you were to really compare the similarities between Toy Story and the original Child's Play, I think you could come up with more similarities between it and the original versus the original Child's Play versus the new Child's Play.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, because Toy Story was paying loving homage or making direct reference to Child's Play.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think so. They named the kid Andy. These are toys that come to life.
I don't know. That's kind of a stretch. Did you read something that said that?
No, I didn't. Prove me wrong.
Okay. All right. Fair.
But the remake does not attempt to even accidentally pay homage to the first one. So my ending notes on this are: my soul hurts, no levity. and it is not a feel good movie. It's very ominous, and it leads into the second one pretty well. This is definitely a slasher series that you can kind of marathon. And so for that reason, check out horrormovietalk.com, check out our episodes post for this and the new one, and we'll have a link to that Blu-ray of all 7 of the currently released Child's Plays for only $20. if you want to marathon this very easily. So, final recommendations. Who would like this movie, Bryce?
I mean, it's a must-see for horror fans.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta see Child's Play.
This is, I'd say, I'd say if there is a big four, you know how there's a big four of thrash metal? You know, you have Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. If there's a big four of slasher movies, I'd say Child's Play. Ooh, I don't know. I guess it goes Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th.
Okay, this just in.
And Hellraiser.
Apparently, the sale is off on Amazon, so it's back to $37.08 on Prime.
That's still a pretty good deal for 7 movies.
Yeah.
And so anyway, check it out on the post. And but anyway, so I don't know if that 4th spot gets filled up by Hellraiser or Child's Play, but it's definitely in the top 5.
Yeah, in terms of
slashers,
of horror characters and like character design,
completely iconic.
Yeah,
unquestionably. Anyway, so yeah, the original Child's Play, I would agree with that. If you're somebody who appreciates horror, you really can't go wrong with Child's Play. It's pretty solid entry into that. So that is our review of Child's Play, the original from 1988. And now, here's Taglines. Here's Taglines. So this is Taglines, which is a bit where we make fun of the movie with jokes or make up new taglines for the movie. This was a pretty easy one to come up with, at least a few. You want to go first?
Child's Play. My buddy and death.
Child's Play. A time before cell phones, when you had to learn about homicides in your house when you got home. A simpler time.
Child's Play. He's as heavy as a small child and a full-grown man.
Child's Play. The original Toy Story, but Andy's toys hate snitches.
Child's Play. Featuring the scariest sound. Unseen children's feet running.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I don't like it. Child's Play.
Sorry, let me... All right.
Child's Play. Who knew that the voodoo version of Child's Play would be the better one?
Or make more sense.
Yeah. Magic, as it turns out. Pretty good way to do a Child's Play movie.
Yeah.
And that was Taglines. So with that was our episode of Horror Movie Talk, our bonus episode of Horror Movie Talk. You're welcome very much. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Let us know if there's any movies you would like us to review. We're always down to talk to our fans, and actually it gets us pretty excited. And we got to go to the bathroom really bad right now. Both Bryce and I have to cross streams.
So stay tuned for Wednesday's episode where we review Child's Play 2019.
Yes.
And that's coming up. Just the regular plugs.
Make sure to share this episode with a friend. Make sure to share it on your feed on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, whatever. Please share it. It helps us out a ton. Remember, you can get access to a bunch of free streaming horror content if you go to Shudder, that's SHUDDER.com, and enter HMT at checkout. That's 30 days free of Shudder. If you want to help us out monetarily, that would be very much appreciated, and you can do it by just buying things on Amazon. Go to horrormovietalk.com, click the link, says buy stuff on Amazon at the top, and then do your purchasing. just like you normally would, and that helps us out a tremendous amount, much more than you would think. You can also become a patron on Patreon. You get that Horror Movie Talk founding members status if you hit it up before the end of June. And also you get a vinyl sticker and a little handwritten personal thank you from me. So become a patron. We thank you very much. And
the last thing is leave a rating on iTunes if you have an iPhone. You don't even have to write a review. Just tap on those stars, and that really helps us out.
Yeah, how many times do we have to beg? And also, thank you to all the people who have.
To all the people that have. That really helps out.
Yeah. So, with that, we love you very much, and have a great week. And bye.
Bye.